Hi everybody. I'm sitting here on the porch, poking holes in some gherkins and listening to Berenice crying. She's in the garage, and I have to wait for a little while to redo her bandage. So yeah, here's my latest pot of gherkins. I'm poking holes in to get ready to can those up too. And I was thinking about some visitors we've had recently, and what these women always say, and they don't know each other, and they just say it independently. And we'll be sitting out in the jungle back there, and they'll like kind of exhale, and they'll say something like, "Oh, this is heaven back here." And it's I started thinking about it, and I'm not I want to make it very clear that this garden is very much a work in progress. It's very much poorly conceived in many ways, and even more poorly executed in others. And I see all the flaws in it, the lack of seasonality. Like right now that a lot of the stuff is done, there's not a lot flowering. There's some zinnias and whatever those, I forget what the purple things are out there, and a little bit of Mexican sunflowers. But I can see that next year I need to add to the things that are flowering so that the insects have more to eat. But those are flaws of like utility, and I think that the flaws of like that I would consider flaws, like, oh my God, there's weeds everywhere, that those aren't actually flaws, that those are nature doing what she does. And I think what these women mean when they come here is that a lot of places aren't that we spend as humans. Thank you for bearing with me while I get to my point here. A lot of the places that we hang out in as humans, modern fucking humans, let me just say, let me undo that there. As modern humans are very much controlled and very much, they're blighted, they're gray and concrete, and they're not alive. I think most of the environments, especially now that we're online 24/7, most of the environments that we spend our time in are dead environments. And Consuelo and I talk about this all the time whenever I'm driving somewhere, and we're looking out the windows, and it's just this blighted landscape of concrete roads and concrete tunnels and concrete overpasses and ugly, poorly thought out buildings, made with no love whatsoever for their inhabitants or anything around them, and just the disrespect of the natural spaces that existed before those buildings were put there, and kind of cramming nature into a corner. Oh, the asters fell down when it rained last time. I had to prop them up. Like nature has been crammed into a little space, maybe into a little corner, and it's only like certain nature, like Canadian geese only. Like there's not a bunch of monarch gardens. I mean, they're trying to do that now, but in general, like I'm thinking especially like the corporate spaces in which we spend so much of our time, because we don't really go and hang out in each other's yards that much, unfortunately. And I wish, for me, I need to do more of that. So I think the fact that here it is wild. It's wild, but it's a there's no coyotes running around. It's a safe wild, but it's still like at any moment nature could just take over and do what she's gonna do. And there's always the last gal that was here that said that one of the praying mantises actually came into the jungle to visit us. And she didn't even know what it was. We had to tell her what it was. So that was cool that we had a visitor from the wild. But I think and at the risk of, this is just like when Andrea Dworkin talks about that knowing like the depths of misogyny and the patriarchy is an agony to women, and I think that's why a lot of us don't do it for a long time. I think seeing how fucking ugly the male generated landscape in which we spend the majority of our waking and sleeping hours, some of us. I used to live in one of those, ugly condos off the freeway, and it was awful, in a place with white walls, and it was, it's not like it was a rough place to live, but it's just, I think it wears on us, and we don't think about it. But at the risk of pointing it out to you all and making it more of an agony for you to know that, in addition to notice that, in addition to noticing the patriarchy, I would just ask for us to notice it, even if it hurts, and think about, okay, and I'll leave us with something uplifting, like think about how it could be instead. I always think about that, like, oh my gosh, this right here should be an orchard. I'm always walking through people's yards, like, why do you got all this grass here? You got plenty of light. This should totally be an orchard. Just envision what it could be, what it used to be, what it might be again, is my wish for you. And instead of thinking how terrible it is that we don't have it right now, let's think about how we can get it back while we still have. Oops, I am trying to show this moth, and I can't see my camera. Let's try and think about what we can do while we still have time. Or if you think we're not going down that fast, then yeah, let's try and think about what we can do to get it back there, give some of it back to nature, and then make it more of a heaven for women and girls. Everybody have a great day. Bye.